Here with Badger defensive lineman Ben Barten and Elijah Hills. How you guys doing today?
Great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you very much. I'll start off. It doesn't really matter, Elijah. So Fickle was talking after the game about how he didn't really know that Aller, like the severity of Aller's injury and the fact that there's a new quarterback in the second half. Was that the same for you guys? Were you guys not aware?
Yeah, we weren't aware. I think we kind of knew that he was a little shaken up, but we didn't know the severity of anything and what was going in. We came out of half expecting him to come out, so yeah, it was a little bit of a change-up for us.
I mean, for sure. He came out in shoulder pads and a helmet. Like, he threw a knee brace on, or maybe he didn't, but he came out there throwing. Like, we were on the field, we were getting ready, and all of a sudden you start seeing their O-lineman standing in front of number 9, and you're like, well, sure enough, that whole game planning for a pocket passer has kind of changed.
I'm curious about that. So, like, what's the communication like when a new quarterback goes in? Like, do you guys have like a meeting on the sideline, or like how did that work?
I mean, we have tendencies we see all week. Like, you're in your meetings, and you know that number 9 has a little more agile, a little more go to him. So you're prepping for him if he's in the game, thinking this guy might be more of a threat to run. And then Aller's obviously a pocket guy, and you see what you get when you get on the field, and all of a sudden it's 9. You got to kind of shift your gears from worrying about containing or worried about really striking after a guy versus containing number 9 a little more. So that's what I saw. Anything?
Yeah, for sure. It's a change of pace in the game. So the way we prepared for Aller would have been different than we would have prepared for number 9. Him being more of a run susceptible quarterback, so it's definitely a change of pace, like I said.
In Aller, I mean, he had a good stat line if you look at his first half stat line, but you guys were winning the game. Like, how would you generally assess the way that you defended him?
I mean, you look at the score in the first half, it's 10-7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think we defended it pretty well. We let up a touchdown. They had to earn that one. They really earned it. So I feel like we defended it well. Obviously, there's areas where we can execute better, but I mean, nothing too bad.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like, I think Nick Singleton was the running back who caught the pass in the corner of the end zone. Like, if you're going to give up a one-handed catch to a running back for a touchdown, that's something that you're like, you walk off the field and you're like, damn, we were in the right spot, right play. Most of the time he doesn't catch that ball, but when it got to it in that game, he happened to catch it and they happened to score 7 points from it.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, like, a mobile quarterback steps in, and obviously he's a threat with his own legs, but how does he help? Like, how does that change how you guys like defend the running back as well? Does that help, like, the running game, like, besides the quarterback?
I mean, yeah, when you have to key 2 players who are, they're reading us, so having 2 players that can potentially run the ball, it changes for sure. Just everyone's got to be more disciplined. Just their keys change a little bit, and just how they would, attack, maybe not so aggressively off the edges and such. So it definitely is different.
Another thing about that matchup, I saw you guys both played like a pretty high amount of snaps, like relative to the rest of the season. What was unique about that matchup that kind of garnered that kind of led to that?
I think that it just happened to be our rotation that we were rolling with when we got into that game. It was Eli playing more of the stand-up outside guy, and Kurt and I playing on the insides. And you tried to rotate in and roll with some other guys, but then situationally came up, you wanted to put maybe one nickel or one or our other set that we have to put in the game. So it was just situationally, like, that's what was going to happen during the game. And you get off the field and you're like, wow, we played a lot more snaps than usual.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it, like, did you think it, like how did it affect that? Like, on one hand, you guys are probably more fatigued, but did you feel like you got into more of a rhythm? Like how did that change?
So we practice this way for sure. I would say, like, we practice for this scenario. Just we go hard. Like, no one really takes plays off in practice. 5 play sets, long play sets. We do tempo every day. It's something we work on. So I mean, I think it's something we were prepared for and willing to do, and just happened. It's a big game, so you want your guys in there. So
Were you tired at all?
I mean, you get out there and you, like, obviously those longer drives, you're maybe not as fresh as you have been, but we're also used to practicing when we're not rolling at 100% of purely, like, with your full wind to you. Like, you're used to practicing at a pace that's going to make you tired, so you're used to practicing tired, which helps you on the field maintain your focus and your hands and your feet during the game.
Okay. Also, now, shifting to Iowa, you guys, or Brendan Sullivan, or Cade McNamara, he suffered a concussion last game, as you guys know, didn't appear on the depth chart. Now it's Brendan Sullivan, who's, who's another mobile threat, but he doesn't have as much game experience as McNamara does. For anybody that doesn't know much about Brendan Sullivan, like, how would you guys describe his game?
I mean, yeah, he's definitely a more mobile guy. I mean, he's going to look downfield, but if nothing's open, he's going to take off. You know, he's one of those quarterbacks. We've seen a few of those guys this year, I would say, and
especially Northwestern.
Yeah, so I don't think he does anything that's too different than what we've seen already. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a similarity for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe when you start seeing quarterbacks who haven't played as much, like we played Sullivan a couple years ago at Northwestern. The last time we were away at their place, obviously away is at their place, but when we were at their old stadium, and I mean, we got after him, and he had a couple turnovers. So, like, obviously, you just got to keep your foot on the gas. You got to get after him.
Mm-hmm. This question is more for Ben, but you know, you guys played Iowa last year, but it was a different offensive coordinator, kind of a different scheme. Can you talk about what's different about the Hawkeyes this year, their offense?
I mean, the running back Johnson's a very good athlete, and we played him last year, and he was a very explosive guy last year. But you can tell he's a little more comfortable with what he's doing. He's patient but can go, so that's definitely something you got to be. You got to be so much more gap sound now because he's a very confident runner and he can hit gaps at a real quick pace. So that's something we got to stay more aware of.
Now, and you know, I was one of those Big Ten teams. Like, they kind of always seem to have a great offensive line. You know what I mean? Like, no matter the year. Like, what stands out about the offensive line to you guys?
I would definitely say just their agility, lateral movement, just their ability to move up front. You know, they get on guys quick and they know what they're doing and they know what they're good at. So whenever you got a O-line that knows their identity, it's tough because they're going to go with their bread and butter and they're good at it. So you just got to prepare for that all week.
For sure, I would say their center's a good athlete. Their guards are very aware of where the ball wants to hit on plays. So we just got to be so much more gap sound this week.
And you guys touched on Kaleb Johnson, but I mean, he's having one of the best, you know, years of any running back in the country. What has he done that you guys have seen in this offense to kind of take a few extra steps?
I'd say explosives. Like, you watched him play Michigan State a couple weeks ago. He hit a big run there. I've watched him play another game earlier in the season when we happened to play at 11 a.m. They played at like 6:30 or 2:30, so you get home, you watch them play, and you just see him hit those holes, and he can get some big explosive runs. So you gotta, again, like, it almost sounds redundant bringing back the gap sound defense. Like, you out of your gap, like, you give him a big run. We did last year to him, and that ended up being literally the 7 points that set us aside from winning that game.
You know, like, also about last year, you know, that game, it was a very kind of old school Big Ten game, you know, like ground and pound, low scoring. What did you learn about last year's matchup that's gonna help you this year?
I would say last year, because we brought in a bunch of guys who, obviously in the new world of college football, transfers. Eli's a great pickup we picked up this year. This is his first year in the system. Jaheim Thomas's first year in the system, but we've got guys who came in last year. We're going to continue to fill in roles who, like, they saw Iowa for the first time last year under this staff with Coach Fickle, Coach Tress, and then we get into this season, and you've got guys who now in their second year of this system understand what it's like to play Iowa, where you're like Coach Fickle says, you go into that game knowing they're physical, but like until you're truly in it, you're feeling that those hits play after play after play. That's when you really understand like what this game means and how physical it is. So that's what's going to help us this year, a second year with this staff under this system playing in that game.
And obviously, you know, like, Eli, you're newer to Wisconsin. Have you kind of like, how much has the rivalry of the Iowa-Wisconsin, like, how much has that been emphasized to you, and like, you know, like, how much more do you know about it this week than you did?
No, yeah, that's something we went over to rivalries during camp. Coach educated us and had some players that have been here educate us on just all the rivalries, especially Iowa. Excuse me. But yeah, so like I understand, and it's a big deal here. So I'm excited. And rivalries are fun. They're the best games to be played in.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yep.